fly with me.
Ladies and gentlemen, ready for countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition.
Man, this is some of the greatest stuff I've ever heard. Ooh.
These go to 11.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
If you love the thrill of racing but hate the risks, then buckle up. Everything Simulated is here to merge adrenaline with absolute safety. In a world where technology meets adrenaline, Everything Simulated is revolutionizing driver training with state-of-the-art simulators. From truck training to the thrill of motorsports, our simulators offer the most realistic experiences across all automotive applications. Gone are the days of endless bookwork and basic drills. Now it's all about hands-on, pulse-pounding action that prepares you for the real deal. Whether you're maneuvering a heavy mining vehicle or racing a high-speed car, our simulators, equipped with cutting-edge technology from leaders like SimRigs and Track Racer, bring every nuance of the drive to life. And talk about making a mark. We're not just building simulators, we're fostering talent. From grassroots motorsports to professional series like the Aussie Outlaw GT3, sponsored by us, Everything Simulated is fueling dreams and careers. Ready to feel the excitement of the racetrack under your fingertips? Connect with us, and let's build your next simulator adventure together. Remember, we support those who support us. Join the Everything Simulated family, and let's race towards the future.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the marvelous Tricky Triangle for round 6 of the Southern Thunder Truck Series. Here we are at Pocono Raceway. I'm James Watson, and joined with the booth is my colleague, Sean Signor. How you doing, Sean?
Doing good, man. Looking forward to tonight. Pocono's going to be one of those tracks where it favors the experience, so tonight's going to be interesting to see who can manage this place.
Yes, sir. Lord knows it's never easy to get the truck all the way through this course. And here are tonight's race facts. We are, of course, in the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania at the 2.5 mile Pocono Raceway, 85 lap race. Pit speed is 55 miles per hour, 100% fuel, 4 sets of tires, and of course, open setup, full tuning ability.
That pit speed's pretty slow. It's tricky to get to under green flag conditions. I think we're going to see a lot of guys get speeding on entry tonight just because it's really fast off of turn 3 here, and 55 miles an hour comes up to you quick.
And you don't have a whole lot of room to get down to that pit speed limit. If you try to slow down right as you get off of turn 3, there's a chance that you still might not be able to make it down in time. So that'll make green flag pit stops really interesting with everyone having to dodge all the trucks coming in.
Oh yeah.
And here are the standings so far. We have the 33 of Brad Newman leading the points at 217. Then the SRM boys of Ruben Phelps and Matty Raymond in second and third. Shane Bowen in fourth, and PJ Paul Jackson rounding out the top 5. Then we have Brian Blundell, Lockie Urquillo in 7th, Jason Holdsworth in 8th, Mark Grokut in 9th, and Ben Henniker rounding out the top 10.
And Brad's starting to pull away on Ruben a little bit. Tonight might be one of those nights where Ruben wants to gain some of those points back and try to close up this championship.
Absolutely. And practice is starting to wind down just a little bit, and we are into tonight's qualifications.
It's going to be quite an experience tonight. 85 laps is quite a long way here. You know, you're talking about almost 200 miles of racing. So we're gonna have ourselves a marathon out there and see who can keep it out of the wall, keep the truck underneath them, and bring it home.
And having to deal with the draft and dirty air as well, you know, with this being such a big track, the draft is going to play a lot. And so you really got to make sure you're sticking within that draft. Otherwise, if you lose it, well, it's going to be a pretty lonely race for you.
Yeah, they're going to get separated too. Anybody in the middle of the pack loses the draft, they're going to be 2 separate packs, 3 separate packs, and it's going to bunch these guys up at different points throughout the run.
And it really makes you have to second guess your moves too, because if you have a chance to make a move on another truck, you have to make sure that you're not going to risk losing the draft for you and everyone else around you. So sometimes having to go, I'll just get back in line and make sure we're still connected. So the hardest thing a race car driver has to do is to have patience, but sometimes that pays off in a race like this.
Especially with a race this long. You know, you can only make one move sometimes, and sometimes saving that move to the very end and not blowing your wad 20 laps before the finish is sometimes the wiser move to make.
I was gonna make a poker comparison.
That's just an American expression, don't worry. Yeah.
I think you already made some sort of poker comparison right there, but anyways, see Brad Newman making his way out for his qualifying attempt. And
yeah, he's
so
one
far,
of the faster trucks in practice.
And we finally have our first lap on the board because it takes an eternity to get a qualifying lap done around here. Andy Barber, top of the chart so far, and Ben Henniker puts it in, well, now third.
Brad just getting up to speed here. It takes a long time, as James just said, to get up to speed and put a whole lap in here. 53 seconds for a lap time is quite a long way, especially without a restrictor plate. on top of the board, Ruben Phelps with the 53.7. He best Andy's lap by about a tenth and a half. It's a pretty good chunk here.
Yes, sir. New quick time for the 06. Whoa, big loose for his teammate off of turn 3 right there.
It's so easy to do here. Turn 3 is just about the flat, and it's the flattest corner on this track, and all three of these corners are so different. So coming off of turn 3, the truck tends to get loose there if it's going to get loose anywhere.
Yes, sir. Pocono, of course, is a amalgamation of 3 iconic ovals from back in its day. Turn 1 is Trenton, which isn't iconic as much now since it no longer exists. Turn 2 is Indianapolis, and right here, Turn 3 is based on the Milwaukee Mile.
Surprised you know that, man. Not many people know that. At least know which turns go which tracks. I'm impressed with that.
I am a racing nerd, and I have nothing better to do with my time.
I had it ready too. Don't worry.
You gotta love it.
Be cool to have a place like Trenton on here. Trenton is such an interesting track for its time, especially with a right turn down the middle of that back straightaway. I can only imagine what that was like, dude.
Dude,
especially
don't even
those old Indy cars.
Don't even get me started on old ovals I want to see in. The sim won't be complete until we have Langhorne on it.
Yeah, get some boardwalk tracks.
Yeah. Or heck, we'll even take Nazareth. iRacing, please. And new quick time, 83 of Matty Raymond. And new quick time again. Good gracious. Got a 1-2-3 for the SRM boys so far. Lockie Urquillo, first one into the 6s here.
Yeah, he was the fastest in practice.
Alright, we are wrapping up qualifications, and it's time to get those last couple ads in before we go over to the starting grid. Alrighty, and we are back, and we have our P2 starter up here with us, Matty Raymond. Matty, how you doing so far? Great qualifying effort for you and the boys.
Cheers, James. Better to be lucky than good, I reckon, sometimes. So. Nah, we did alright. Pretty happy with that. A bit unexpected. That's the first 53.7 I think I pulled. So yeah, no, I was pretty happy with that. So because track position's going to be important around here tonight. So yeah, very happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely cracking laps. So as we're getting ready to take off on the grid, any strategies you got going on? What you got cooking up?
Well, just like most races, I sort of play it by ear really, but main aim will be, if we go green here, we'll hang out as long as, well, what I want to do is hang out for as long as I can on this first tank. And, yeah, sort of split the rest in half from there, depending on, like I said, what the cars do, or how the race plays out itself. So, yeah, yeah, we're ready to go.
You guys play nice up front.
What's that, sorry, mate?
You guys play nice up front with your teammates.
Oh, we'll try to. There's 42 and 06, they're pretty rough. You've got to watch out for them sometimes. So.
Alrighty, well, good luck, Matty. And here is our starting grid. We have a 42 of Lockie Urquio, your pole sitter, and just with us, the 83 of Matty Raymond rounding out the front row. Ruben Phelps in the 06 and Brad Newman in the 33 occupy row 2. Andy Barber in the 5 and Ryan Barber in the 05, all Barber row 3. Shane Bone in the 38 and Jason Tyerman in the 82 on row 4. And rounding out the top 10, Brent Henderson in the 81 and Ben Henniker in the 213 as I toss it over to my colleague.
Jake Saddington's going to start 11th, and Brian J. Blundell is going to be 12th. Tom Pritchard in the 6 trucks 13th, and Troy Mortensen is 14th in the 23. Colin Bennett's going to round out your top 15, and Mark Grocott in 16th. Brad Wright's going to, in the 19 trucks, going to bring up the rear in 17th spot. Coming to the green here, James. I think it's going to be a little bit of a marathon run here, but we're going to see who can, if anybody's going to make a move going down into 1 here. You got to make your moves here at the start while you're all packed up.
Sir, pace car pulls off, and green means go. We're underway at Pocono. And here they are, they're fanning out. Lord knows Pocono is famous for the 3 and 4 wide entries into turn 1. Ooh!
Ruben to the inside of the leader here, Lachlan. It's going to take a little bit of space coming through 1 and 2, but he's going to have to slot in behind him off of turn 1.
Yeah, able to just slide in between his teammates and take over P2. Good start for the 5 Andy Barber so far, up to 4th. See them going into the tunnel turn for the first time. This is a great equalizer. Lord knows it's never easy going through there on lap 1.
Now, it only gets better as the race goes on. As this track rubber's in, you'll gain a lot more confidence going through turn 1. And, I'm sorry, the tunnel turn.
Yes, sir, and Lord knows that confidence will probably end poorly. Lap 1 in the books, and the 42 is still up the front with his 2 teammates right behind him, and Andy Barber looking to try to put himself into the top 3.
Saw Colin Bennett go around Brenton Henderson on the outside there if that was for 15th towards the back, and side by side, that 5 truck's going to be underneath Matthew Raymond for 3rd, going down a little short shoot here.
Yeah, Andy's not wasting any time here.
Tires are new. You can make it a little bit, more maneuverable truck at the moment. Might as well take advantage of it. Get by a couple of these guys you're faster than at the moment.
Yes, sir. You feel like Superman on those freshies, and Lord knows Matty Raymond loves to take it easy on these opening laps of the stint.
Well, that's going to break up that SRM to 1, 2, 3 at the moment. So we'll see if he can close in on the other 2 guys running up towards the front.
Yeah, as we see some good battling here towards the farther end of the field.
And these guys are all giving each other room as Tom Pritchard's going to poke to the inside. Troy Mortensen going into turn 1. They're also side by side in front of him, but it's going to be a clean pass by Tom as he's going to slide up in front of Troy. Seems like Troy was playing nice there, kind of lifted a little bit for him in the center. That's right up in front of him. They are side by side.
Yeah,
Tyerman, sorry.
Yeah, Troy did what I like to call the business decision. He's like, all right, you go on, mate. Just go wide, let them by, and then go back on about your business.
Well, these guys are all pretty friendly with each other. They know each other very well. They got to race each other next week, so they race each other pretty clean. They give each other a lot of room, and that's one thing you like to see, and that's one thing that helps these track races go green.
Yeah, but when has that really stopped anyone? Like, you see plenty of crazy moves, even in real life, and it's like, you're gonna see them again next week. And hell, even in some of these short track and dirt series, you're gonna see him in like another day or 2.
Well, maybe it's nice out there.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's why we're up here.
Yeah.
Bennett Henniker losing a couple of spots here out of the draft down the straightaway. Got stuck on that inside line. That will cost you position every single time down these straightaways with that little bit of a drafting help that outside line gets. As Colin Bennett sticks his nose to the outside, and behind him it's going to be Jake Saddington up on the outside. He's going to get around Ben Henniker there. Ben Henniker lost like 4 or 5 spots that lap, just being in the wrong line at the wrong time. Now he's got to get back in line.
And to me, this is what I hate about racing at Pocono so much, is because the middle lines are so dominant when it comes to making moves. So if you duck out a line and make a move, you have to make sure that you pull it off. Otherwise, you are getting freight trained to oblivion.
And the freight train costs everybody time. You know, if you get stuck on the inside, the guy on the outside's losing time too to whoever's in front of him, just because it doesn't work running side by side down the straightaway.
Yep, and it goes back to that risk and reward I mentioned during qualifying. You know, you gotta stop and think, how badly do you want the spot, at the risk of losing the draft and costing yourself an opportunity for more spots down the road.
Well, a track like this, it takes a lot of cooperation amongst each other to make these passes work, and a lot of give and take, and that's what keeps everybody in the game, keeps everybody clean.
And that's the hardest thing to find on iRacing and racing in general, is that there needs to be a lot of a give and take in certain situations. And, you know, I think we all can think back on a guy or guys that we've raced against where you're like, why are you fighting so hard? Look, we're losing the draft. You're costing us more spots, you twit.
Well, we're seeing it here tonight. We see it here every week. These guys all seem to be spread out just about the same, about a tenth and a half amongst every single person in this field. Seems to be a little bit of a bubble where you can't get too close to everybody without getting tight, but I think that's going to change as these tires go through a cycle here. Lap 6 to lap 15, the guys who saved their stuff a little better than the others are going to start showing up here.
Yeah, it's that beach ball effect that you hear them talk about quite often. You know, that pocket of air in between you and the car ahead, that sometimes you're almost kind of pushing the car in front of you ahead with that pocket of air. And so you really got to get a good run to be able to pop that bubble and get that run on them to try to make a move. And
Tell you what, Ruben Phelps is making his move. He has closed in on Lachlan Urquio down that straightaway there. He was on his bumper going into turn 2. I think he has a little bit of a advantage right now at this point in the tire run.
Yeah, he's looking, but obviously nowhere near close to making a move.
Just over the last couple laps, these guys have gotten tightened up just that tiny little bit. As they get spread out, then the draft starts kicking into gear and everybody starts catching each other back up. And now the tires are hot. Now the tires are going to get underneath you. So now it's going to start getting spicy.
Yeah, speaking of tires getting hot, it looked like the 42 was starting to dirt track it just that little bit off of exit of 1.
And that's all it takes, is that little bit. And Ruben sees that little bit of a looseness. He sees the advantage, and he is going to start pouncing. He's going to see blood in that water, especially with Andy J. Barber on his back bumper.
Yeah, it looked like Ruben kind of tried to slow up a little bit on entry to try to get a good launch off of the corner, and he almost paid the price on it because Andy got a huge run right at that point, and they almost made contact.
With this new build, if you get too close to the guy's rear bumper, he will get loose. He will get sideways. You can take air off the spoiler now. So that's a new variable these guys necessarily haven't dealt with racing in these trucks. It's not like if they've never seen it before, they don't know how to avoid it almost.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we needed for C-Fix, was more ways to make the truck spin and cause
easier wreck.
Yeah. It's exactly what we needed.
Andy is not letting Ruben get away.
He's not.
He seems to have the best tires at the moment, the best turning truck at the moment in this tire run, as he is all over Ruben Phelps' bumper. Seems like Ruben caught Lachlan that one time, and he's kind of backed off a little bit, maybe playing nice with his teammate, giving his teammate some space, letting him cool his stuff down. trying to hold back everybody. But at one point, those tires are going to start slipping. I feel like Ruben's saving a little something here. Just being patient, waiting for something to happen, an opportunity, both in front of him and behind him.
Yeah, and it makes you kind of wonder what's going on with that 5 truck then. Is he pushing real hard and burning up his stuff, or is he be able to carry all that speed and not really lose a whole lot of rubber? Obviously, we saw him and his son Ryan in Oz Ovals last week just absolutely go full tire whisper and bludgeon the field to the tune of 6+ seconds. It's in a very tire-inducive race at Motegi. So if there's anyone that can drive hard and still keep the rubber underneath him, I'd say it's that 5 truck.
They're all spread out throughout the whole field. Bringing up that top spot still is Lachlan Urquio. He has led from the pole. Hasn't gotten much of a challenge from Ruben Phelps, more than just that one time going into turn 2 that I had seen. But they are all playing nice with each other. Brad Newman, last week's winner, he's got Ryan Barber on his back bumper. That's Andy's son. Always adds another layer of contention when you're racing family. Do you want to wreck family for the win? Do you want to wreck the family for 5th? It's always a question you got to ask yourself. Usually it's a yes for me.
Oh, I know my father and I would absolutely wreck each other going for the win.
I'd wreck my newborn baby for a win.
Alright, calm down there, Tony Stewart.
Yeah. It's almost a big chess game at the moment, at this point in the run. 12 laps into the run, you're really going to start seeing the tire make a little bit of a light switch here. 40 laps on the fuel run here. So these guys can go about another 28 laps at best. So we're going to see pretty shortly who's saving and who did a bad job at, you know, managing their tires in the early part of this run, trying to stick with these fast guys up front.
Well, it's like you said, Sean, it's a marathon. This is a long race. I want to say it's about the same length as the real life race here. I don't know that for a fact, and I'm talking out of my hindquarter region again on that one. But what I'm trying to say is this is a long race, and so there's not a whole heck of a lot of point of pushing like your life depended on it on lap 13. So we're seeing a lot of guys just pace themselves, especially if you still have that lead draft or some sort of draft if you're like these guys in the second pack, as we saw a big wiggle from the 242 off of turn 1.
Yeah, this second pack's about 3/10 slower than that first pack every lap, as we're getting to that point where it's starting to show up and that difference is playing a factor. And that first pack is driving away. First pack of about 7 trucks or so. We've seen Tom Pritchard really close in on Jason Tyreman. You can tell that patience is starting to wear thin. He wants to stick with that front pack. He knows he's got the speed for it.
I'd say with where the draft is, any hopes of getting back to that lead pack is pretty well dashed, just because it's at this point, no matter how fast your truck is, you're not going to be able to get a big enough gap to catch that pack, or a big enough pace advantage to catch that lead pack. So you're kind of hoping for a caution if you're any of these trucks.
Yeah, caution's always a possibility, but at this point they might have to short pit or just work together. You know, there could be a situation where they start running faster in that front pack here if they just, you know, play a little differently on the tire strategy through the run.
And you know, that's what's so difficult about running at a draft heavy track, is that the helpless feeling you get when you're losing the draft and you know that the likelihood of you being able to get it back is not high. Because again, unless you've got like a 90s cup car engine in this, you're just not going to be able to get enough pace to gain all of that track position back under green.
This battle for fourth is starting to brew. Brad Newman has really closed in on Matthew Raymond. He's getting a little bit of help in the rear from Ryan Barber, pushing him along, and they have really closed that gap up just in this last couple laps. Be interesting to see if he does make a move, and at the moment they're catching the front two pack as they are all working together, transferring energy to each other down the straightaways.
Yeah, they need to keep working together because it's about a half-second gap from Raymond to Barber, and if you're not careful, that's gonna grow.
Fastest truck on track last lap was Ruben Phelps by a whole tenth over Lachlan up front. You might be seeing Ruben starting to show his strength here towards the later half of this run.
And that's exactly what these guys all want to see, is the top two battling for the lead and slowing themselves up just that little bit.
I don't see Brad going away from Matthew Raymond's mirror right now at the moment. His truck just looks like it's handling a little better, especially off from the center off the corner. Matthews is struggling just a little bit sometimes on quarter exit. Seems like he gets a little bit loose every now and then. I haven't seen that out of Brad's truck yet. Big dive into the corner by Newman. He's not gonna get anywhere close, but it might be a net gain off the corner.
Yeah, he's definitely looking. Just let him know that he's there.
Just filling up his mirrors.
And showing him he wants that position.
Great job through the tunnel turn there, getting that clean air. The quickest way down there is on the bottom. Looked like Matthew missed the apex just a little bit, and here's another dive. They're going to be side by side through the center. Matthew's going to have the run off the top here. He was able to hold him off.
Yeah,
that cost him a little bit of time, though. Just that one little bit side by side. As you can see, the trucks in front of him, Andy J and Ruben Phelps, are just broken away just that little bit extra.
Yeah, they're about 9/10 away. They're in that danger zone. They lose another couple tenths here, they're gonna be up a creek.
Brad's still right on his back bumper going down here into the tunnel turn. He might be setting him up for turn 3 again. He knows he's faster through here. But Matthew got a better drive through the tunnel turn here.
Big wiggle from Andy Barber. Ooh, he was dirt tracking off of the tunnel turn.
It's an easy
We
place
know he
to do
ain't
it
saving
there.
tire.
No, not at the moment.
No.
He kept it out of the wall, though, and he kept it going straight. A-plus driving right there.
Oh, yeah.
Got to teach Ryan.
And on the right passengers, you'll see the remnants
Nice.
of Andy Barber's right rear tire.
The hands of a young man right there.
Yeah.
Brad still underneath Matthew Raymond in turn 1. He's not going to be able to stay side by side with him off the corner. He's going to have to slot back in line. I'm sensing maybe some frustration out at 33. He can't get the job done just yet.
Yeah, the 42 had a great turn 1, and it bought him a couple tenths for Phelps and Barber behind.
Clean air is king. It has been all week.
I think you can say that for all of World Motorsports for like the last 20 plus years.
Yeah, I guess so. Applicable anywhere. About halfway through the fuel run here. Just going to see who can make it to lap 40. Who's going to stretch it. These guys, it's going to start creeping in their minds knowing they're going to have to make a pit stop here shortly.
Yeah, that's another good point too, is whether or not there's going to be any fuel save shenanigans going on. I'm going to say at least amongst the top 6 or so, probably not, because they're certainly not driving like they're trying to save a whole lot.
Well, if these guys can go to lap 42, there's a chance they can do it on one stop, but it's going to be tight.
Yeah, Brad's trying to send it again, but once again, 83 powers around the outside. Like what I mentioned earlier, that outside line is so OP around here. You gotta have such a good run and maybe pull a bit of a slide job if you want to try making that
Matthews
move
loose.
done.
Matthews loose. Oh, big save there. That's going to cost him a little bit more time there off the corner. Brad lifted for him. But he was loose from the center off. Brad just got tucked up on his back tailgate, and he was sideways the whole exit of the corner. But it's starting to really show now. You can just see how tight they are. You can see the impatience mounting in that 33's cabin. You can see the front three trucks drive away.
Yeah, in about a second, they're still in the danger zone here.
He seems to get close in that draft, and he gets to run off the corner. He's just too far off him at the exit of turn 3 the last couple times. He hasn't really been close enough to make a move into turn 1. It's one of the very few places on this track you can dive it to the inside and hopefully clear somebody. Oh, Matthew loose again off the corner. He was sideways yet again, carbon copy of what happened last lap. Brad seeing that, he knows he's going to have to be closer if he wants to take advantage of that.
Oh, big slide in the center of the tunnel turn for Ryan Barber. Looks like he's trying to take a bit more of a higher line, trying to get a little bit of clean air on that right front fender. As we see, we've got some wild gaps in the field so far. Not much between these first couple packs, but we've got a pretty long way back to, I believe, the 38 of Shane Bowen in 7th.
Newman made another move there in turn 1, and yet again, the 83 got loose from the center off the corner as the battle for seconds heating up. Ruben Phelps and Andy Barber going at it. Sometimes it's hard to get those two trucks different. both Mobile 1 trucks, both same last name. He's going to poke to the inside, much like Brad's been trying, and behind them. They're going to be side by side through turn 3. Gets a good run off the center here. It's going to be a drag race down the front. I expect some side drafting here going down to turn 1.
And this is music to the eyes of the 42. He is gaining so much ground on them while they're trying to fight for second.
And the guys behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Yeah,
big loose out of Andy, but he is still right there, right on Ruben's tail. Didn't lose any time to Ruben off the corner. Back down to the inside, going into turn 3.
Yeah, it looked like Phelps was a lane up, but Andy had a full four-wheel slide as Andy goes right through in turn 3. Oh, here comes Ruben looking for the crossover.
Yeah, Ruben took care of him there. I expect a bump, not a move to the inside, and he's going to give him that bump, trying to get up to Lachlan. But Ruben definitely took care of him going into turn 3. Didn't really contest it that hard, and knew that Andy had the better truck at the moment. Maybe work with him here to try to catch up to Lachlan, who's broken away by about a second.
Yeah, that bump draft worked for a second. It got them back a few tenths, but then Urquio just pulled them once again off at exit of 1.
They are working together. He's giving him that bump, giving him that push going down the end of the straightaway. We'll have to see this time around if they're any quicker this lap than Lachlan was.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. They've lost a couple of tenths.
They will regroup, gain some momentum, and maybe close back in. But now that pit stop's also in the back of their brain. Maybe they can pit a lap early, pit long, but that's also playing a factor in their minds at this point in the run.
Yeah, and it just boils down to how close they're going to be on fuel and how long are they really going to try to be able to stretch it, and how long do they want to stretch it.
Well, like I said earlier, if they can go to lap 42, they might be able to make this a one-stop race. But it's a big if, and we're going to have to see if anybody makes it that long. I was pretty close in practice myself, but with the draft and a bunch of different variables, somebody might be able to make it that long.
Nice move for Colin Bennett, moved himself up a spot. See, the 33 kind of fallen off from the back of Matty Raymond.
And maybe he had burnt his stuff up diving to the inside there about 6-7 times as we saw. Just got his tires a little hot at the moment, tried to sit back, cool them off, and get some momentum here in the draft. Make another shot at him here in about 4 or 5 laps. All these guys are loose. You can see it in their driving. Every single one of them's just a little bit loose on throttle application.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about Pocono. You always seem to be tight where you don't want to be and loose where you don't want to be. Oh, there's a... Wow. It's a early stop for the 33.
Early pit stop, that cements a 2-stop strategy. He's going to pit now, and he's going to pit once again around 40, 30 laps to go. That's going to cement his strategy. But you don't go a lap down here when you pit under green, so you're more willing to make these types of calls, knowing that you're not going to necessarily lose a lap. And a caution at any point from this point on will give him track position.
Yeah, you're hoping for a caution when you do a green flag pit at Pocono.
That maybe confirms my suspicion that he had burnt his stuff up, makes this decision much easier to make.
Indeed.
Troy Mortensen also on pit road in the 23 truck. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a 73 truck. Mark Rocott was running back in 17th, but he came down for his pit stop as well.
Whoa! A little bit of looseness on the cold tires for Newman.
Another truck on pit road, Shane Bowen. He just got the pit road. Pretty clean entry. Did a good job getting that truck nice and sturdy down there on pit road. It's easy, like we said earlier, to get a speeding penalty, get loose on the brakes, and he avoided both those issues. So now these guys are all spread out up front here. Lachlan is still leading by about a second and a half. Ruben's about 2 seconds behind Lachlan and 6/10 or so behind Andy. So that's still the closest battle on track right now between these two. Also a pretty tight battle for 6th.
Oh, we got a black flag for the 73.
Yeah, 73 and Mark Grocott, he got a black flag. He's still in his box, so that tells me maybe speeding on the entry. It's a long penalty here, a whole 40-second penalty. It's going to put him a couple laps down if at worst. Battle for 6 is pretty interesting here. Jason Tyreman, Tom Pritchard, they've been nose to tail for most of this race. Tom just got a little loose off the corner. Yeah, it's Mark coming back down to get his service penalty.
See the 82, the 5, and the 242 continuing to battle. Oh,
Ryan
got
Barber on pit
P6 in.
road. Lap 30. So most of these guys are committing to a 2-stop strategy.
Which means we were way off on our strategy calls, which is...
Someone else can still do it.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah, the
if there's
clock's ticking for those guys up front.
yeah, there's
Be
one
interesting to
thing that
see when Lachlan pits. He is pretty loose right now off the corner, but it'll be interesting to see when the top five, the rest of the top five or so, pull that trigger.
yeah, with Newman and Barber bringing it in, that this is going to be and here it is.
Yep.
First, second. It's like
Ruben
Phelps
stays
stays
out.
out. And Raymond's in as well.
This is going to practically round out the rest of the pit stop cycle. Ruben's going to be the only one who hasn't pitted yet. Him and Jake Saddington, that is.
Yeah, if there's one thing that's consistent for an Inside Lane Productions broadcast is that there's always going to be me being wildly off base on potential strategy calls. At least it wasn't an example of me talking about it only to cut to a car making it incorrect mid-sentence.
Well, we called out the time was on, the time was on the clock, and they had to come down very shortly with Brad and all them pitting a couple laps before then.
Here comes Phelps. I think he stayed out just to get that lap lead bonus
So with the cycle playing out being in the back here, Brad has cycled out about 3.5 seconds in front of Lachlan, only pitting about 4 laps before the rest of that pack in front of him, and he was able to pull out 3.5 seconds on them. Even Ryan Barber had a slow pit stop, and he's still 2.5 seconds behind Lachlan, pitting a whole lap and a half early.
Yeah, it shows you how powerful that undercut is.
How good of a job Brad got on and off pit road as well plays a factor.
Indeed. Oh,
See the rest of these guys coming in. Saddington, Ruben Phelps.
Saddington missed his box a little bit, had to back it up.
That's extremely frustrating under green. It kills you.
And something about these pit boxes, it's a nightmare to get in just right. I can't tell you how many times I had to re-parallel park, saying it's too far right, too far left. Like I'm taking my driving exam again.
They definitely are unique here, and it plays a factor sometimes getting in your box. Sometimes the brakes are cold. You don't use the brakes much in these green flag runs, and sometimes you come into the box, your brakes are ice cold, and you slide through it much easier that way.
Not the way I drive. Maybe that's why I suck here.
You're on the wrong pedal. Well, Lachlan has closed in on Brad a second over this last couple laps. He's using up the goodness in his tires while he has it, trying to close back in on Brad's a little bit of an advantage. See if they get hot before he gets there, or if he's able to close in the rest of that gap.
Yeah, and it brings up the discussion, the talking point of undercut versus overcut that I seem to bring up at least once a race. And you see that Brad got a pretty good advantage, but it's already starting to just slowly eke away as those 4-lap pressure tires of Verquillo are starting to work.
Not even that slowly. He closed in a bunch on only a couple laps. And even this lap, he was 4/10 quicker this past time around. So at that rate, he's going to get there pretty quickly.
Now on the flip side, if you're going for an overcut, but it's only a lap or two, that tends
Raymond in
to...
the wall.
Yeah, he almost got that.
He did. He got it. Not that hard, but he definitely made a little bit of contact with that wall. Maybe not.
So.
That was close, yeah. Maybe he had me fooled. I saw some sparks, but that could just be by netcode. These guys being so far away from my location.
Yeah, going back to my point, because you see right in the back of the shot of these two is the 06 of Ruben Phelps, who lost a pretty good amount of time from staying out that 1 lap extra. And with only 1 lap pressure tires, it's going to be a lot harder for him to claw back that deficit. And also about 2 seconds slower on his pit time compared to practically everyone else in the top 5. Like almost 2 full seconds slower than his teammates' pit stop, Matty Raymond.
Yeah, that could be a multitude of things. Maybe he slid his box a little bit. Maybe it was just a little slow on the exit or entry, but that plays a big factor. But he's got the fastest best tires in the field right now. 8 seconds to gain, so he's got some work to do, but he's got time to do it.
Yeah, Lord knows there's nothing but time on this track.
This battle still heating up here. Jason Tireman and Tom Pritchard. This is for 8th after all is said and done with the pit cycle. And they have been nose to tail for all 37 laps so far. Have not gotten away from one another this whole race.
Yeah, he's been behind the 82 practically the whole race, and he's like Tireman, well, I'm feeling pretty tired, man.
And getting tired of looking at that.
No, I will not apologize for that pun.
And he's getting tired of looking at that bumper. Yeah. Well, they seem to be playing nice either way, taking care of each other. Haven't seen much contact out of either of them. Starting to close in up front, though. On the bumper of Brad Newman, Lachlan Urquio has closed in that 2.5 second gap rather quickly. I guess I called something right. He's going to get that big run here off the center. He's going to have the run down the straightaway. He's going to pop to the inside and try to get it done going into the tunnel turn. Side by side through here really doesn't work as Brad's going to lift a little bit and try to give it up going into the corner and tuck in behind him.
Yeah, good move from Urquio.
Now Andy's got to not fool around here too long. He's going to want to get around Brad rather quickly to stick with that 42.
Yeah, otherwise 42 is going to be right back out of draft range for everyone else, which is exactly what he wants to have happen. And here comes the snake. I'm tired of these something snakes on this something racetrack.
And Brad walked up the track there. Big run by Andy. He's going to pull to the inside just like Lachlan did the lap before. It's going to be deja vu for Brad getting past going down in the tunnel turn 2 laps in a row.
Yeah, you see Barber just gets that good run off of turn 1, gets the run, not even really side drafting that much, and just goes right on by. Looks like Brad made another one of those business decisions I talked about earlier.
Yeah, Brad got a little tired there in the center of one and walked him up the track, and Andy was able to keep that truck pinned down to the bottom and get that big run off the corner and down the straightaway. As they are still somewhat nose to tail as Lachlan has driven away quite a little bit here from Andy. His leads up to about 9/10 to a second. Andy's going to have to push here to not break that draft. Stick with him.
Yeah, and his help from behind is starting to fall off his tail just that little bit.
Coming back around this time by 40 to go. We're going to have 45 to go. Sorry, 40 laps down. Almost just about halfway in this race. These guys have spread out a little bit. We got about half the track spread for the whole field, so these guys might be getting into some lap traffic at the very end of this thing, maybe to spice up this finish for us. Jason Tireman and Tom Pritchard working their way around a lap truck there.
Yep, Mark just pulled to the inside and let them go. Good play. Hey, from the 73.
Yeah, Mark's 3 laps down. He's just hoping for a yellow or something. Try to switch it up and get these guys closer together so he can get his laps back. Needs about 4 yellows, really.
I think we had a few more issues on pit road because Blundell and Bennett are both 1 lap down.
Could be the case. A lot of trucks were in there all at once. It's hard to tell when guys come down a second time. If they are a lap down, sounds like they did get some sort of penalty.
Yep, they pulled some sort of oopsie.
Battle for 8th is never going to be settled, I don't think. They're going to be racing on into tomorrow.
Yeah.
Still knows the tail. They are taking care of each other, though. Been pretty fun watch. Yeah, we might want to sneak away here, try to fit in some ads while we got some space between all the trucks. We'll be back here at the Pocono Raceway.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Ladies and gentlemen, ready for countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition.
is some of the greatest stuff I've ever heard. Ooh.
These go to 11.
If you love the thrill of racing but hate the risks, then buckle up. Everything Simulated is here to merge adrenaline with absolute safety. In a world where technology meets adrenaline, Everything Simulated is revolutionizing driver training with state-of-the-art simulators. From truck training to the thrill of motorsports, our simulators offer the most realistic experiences across all automotive applications. Gone are the days of endless bookwork and basic drills. Now it's all about hands-on, pulse-pounding action that prepares you for the real deal. Whether you're maneuvering a heavy mining vehicle or racing a high-speed car, our simulators, equipped with cutting-edge technology from leaders like SimRigs and TrackRacer, bring every nuance of the drive to life. And talk about making a mark. We're not just building simulators, we're fostering talent. From grassroots motorsports to professional series like the Aussie Outlaw GT3, sponsored by us, Everything Simulated is fueling dreams and careers. Ready to feel the excitement of the racetrack under your fingertips? Connect with us, and let's build your next simulator adventure together. Remember, we support those who support us. Join the Everything Simulated family, and let's race towards the future.
Welcome back to Pocono, as we are pretty tight here for 4th spot. Brad Newman getting his way around Matthew Raymond. He had just gotten passed by Matthew a couple laps ago, and he got the job back done going into turn 1 there. They had a little bit of a stack up off of turn 3, but, you know, they're none the wiser. I'm going to see Matthew probably make another quick move here on Brad very shortly. If not, push him up to Ryan Barber running 3rd. But these guys pretty far back. They're about 5-6 seconds back to the leader, Lachlan Urquio. So they're in their own little world, racing amongst themselves.
And we see Phelps caught back up to him. So he's back in play for a top 3.
Yeah, Phelps has used those new tires to his advantage. He's been slowly catching in on these guys. Really tight between Matthew Raymond and Brad Newman is going to be able to hold it on the outside, contest that spot all the way down the straightaway. He's going to get a little bit of a draft off of Ryan Barber. Side by side in the tunnel turn, it's always going to be sketchy.
Brad driving like he's Ryan Newman with how easy he's able to keep Raymond by. And as I say that, he gets by. Why do I even bother?
You know, they were working together, and Ruben's going to try to pick up the scraps here, make a move on Brad himself. I think he's going to be able to do it with his new tires. Brad's still able to hang on that outside down the straightaway. It's going to kill their momentum all the way down the straightaway, but they're going to be side by side going into turn 1.
It sure is. Oh,
very close, right on his door. But he's going to get it done. Slide up in front of him here.
Yeah, that was a nice little, perfectly executed.
Yeah, big slide job there by Ruben Phelps.
Waiting all night to pull that out.
Yeah, well, you know, he made it work. He had the opportunity there when Brad got passed by Matthew. Took advantage of it, got his nose to the inside, and with his newer tires, he made quick work of it.
So we see these 4 are just a little bit off of the bow for the lead.
Big wiggle by Matthew off the corner. Here comes Ruben to the inside. He's going to try to make quick work of Matthew here. Pitted one lap after Matthew, so his tires really aren't on paper that much better. But right now they look a whole lot better. Is he able to make the move going down to turn 1? And he's probably not going to waste much time behind Ryan for 3rd.
Yeah, Matty with the business decision and letting letting him go right by.
Closed right up to the back bumper of Ryan Barber. He's going to get a big run here off the turn 2. To the inside going into turn 3. Gets the move done on the entry as Brian Barber's going to slot in behind him, all playing nice here with about 50 laps to go. Well, less than 50, sorry, 35 laps to go. But all playing nice amongst each other.
Yeah, good damage control run for Phelps. I was worried with how much distance he had to everyone else when he came off of pit road, but he pretty much got rid of that whole gap almost felt like a blink of an eye, even though we're already getting ready for pit stops here in another 6-7 laps.
Well, it shows the power to that overcut. He pitted 5 laps after Brad Newman and came out 10 seconds behind him and still was able to get by him in this same fuel run.
Yeah, and that made me look silly. Like, I'm always the biggest believer when it comes to the overcut, and even I didn't even believe in it at this point, but he used those 1 lap extra tires to absolute perfection.
Yeah, Ruben Phelps out here proving us wrong 1 race at a time.
So let's be real, it doesn't take a whole lot to prove me wrong. Not a high bar set there.
Ryan Barber got a mirror full of Matthew Raymond and Brad Newman. Brad has been able to stick with these guys even with those older tires. They really haven't dropped them as quickly as we thought he would.
Yeah, we've seen that 33 truck be really quick all season long. Almost to an understatement, just saying really quick. So it's not too surprising that even with the bit of a tire deficit that he's on, that he's still able to be amongst the battle for a top 5 against trucks with 4 lap fresher tires. A track where 4 laps is a pretty big distance.
Yeah, pretty good separation here amongst the field. Laughlin's still ahead, though, by about 6/10. Andy J. Barber's been slowly creeping in on him. We might be seeing a battle for the lead brewing up, as we actually have a battle for fourth. Matthew Raymond to the inside, Ryan M. Barber. Side by side into turn 3. Real close off the corner, door to door. Matthew gets a little bit of loose, and that's going to give the position to Ryan Barber.
Here comes Newman. Newman on pit road.
Short pitting yet again.
Yeah, that was a textbook pit entry right there. Lock it up, but hey, who cares? You don't need those tires no more.
Well, let's see when these other guys plan on pitting. They're racing hard for third, and they're racing hard for the lead. That battle for the lead is closing up. Whoa, big slide there by Andy Barber. Didn't lose any time, though.
Seems like the Barbers, especially Andy, just have a little bit left in the tank as we get to the real deep parts of these runs. Like, we see this battle still going on.
This is for 4th spot. Deja vu again as Ryan Barber gets to run off the top in turn 3. This is working out in Brad's favor as he's able to pull away a little bit extra more on that short pit. These guys slowing each other down, running side by side. Another run off the corner here for Matthew. Does he try to make the move or does he give the push? Gonna stick with the push for now.
Man, it was jarring. You saw the 05 drive it way deeper into the tunnel turn. Like, I thought there was an issue with the 83 with how hard Ryan drove it in and the gap had opened.
Still nose to tail down the straightaway. Matthew Raymond, you know he wants to get around this truck. But he's being patient, trying to wait for the right move. Shane Bowen on pit road in the 6th spot. He was able to get on pit road relatively clean. Maintain that pit road speed and see if he gets into his box pretty good. Pearsall got in his box pretty clean there. It's going to be a good pit stop for the 38. Battle for the lead seems to be stagnant at about 6-7 tenths.
Yeah, Lockie was able to find a little bit that last lap or so. Got himself a few more tenths of breathing room.
Matthew Raymond still all over the back of Ryan Barber. Just waiting for that right opportunity. Be interesting to see when these guys do pit. Clock is ticking in their heads. We've gone to about that second point in that second run to where we're in that fuel window.
We see Henderson bringing it down pit road.
He was 12th last time around towards the back of the pack, but it's been a clean race for Brenton, keeping it out of the wall, just trying to bring it home. Lots of lap trucks here, mixing it up with the leaders as Lachlan has worked his way around Colin Bennett and Shane Bowen.
And managed to buy himself another 10.5 through that as well.
Matthew to the inside of Ryan here again, turn 1. They're going to be side by side down the short chute. Might be in a better position here if he can stay side by side, but he's just not close enough.
Surprised he's not trying to side draft a little more.
Yeah, I was just thinking that too. You don't see much of that in this league.
Probably not the worst thing, considering, you know, how
doesn't usually work out.
Yeah, with deck code being goofy and the fact that, you know,
The slow truck here, Mark Grocott. Oh, Brian's going to come in and make a pit stop. He probably saw that slow truck was going to affect his exit and figured, why not make a pit stop now? Going to be the second one of our top 5 to come down and make a pit stop here. Hopefully the final one of his day. A couple more guys towards the back of the pack coming in this time as well. Jason Tyerman, his teammate Tom Pritchard behind on his teammate, sorry, but his buddy sat behind him all race, Tom Pritchard. He's going to follow him on pit road. Brad Wright in the 19 truck. 6th, 7th, and 8th all coming down pit road at once.
Now you wonder how long is it going to be for Phelps.
Lachlan's coming in right now. Your leader, Lachlan Urquio, has dominated this race, coming down for his final pit stop here. About 25 laps to go. He got to the cone pretty clean. I don't see any sort of issues there with the entry. Andy J is going to go an extra lap here. Ruben on pit road as well. This is going to cycle out that field here. We'll see how far ahead Brad Newman's able to get on his short pit strategy.
Yeah, I gotta say, seeing how powerful the overcut has been, I'm a bit nervous on that pit strategy for your Quio. Like, if Barber continues to stay out, that might be a huge advantage for the 5, especially since we saw in the closing laps of the run, he had a little bit more pace. So now
Brad Newman's able to take the lead on that restart on the cycle. Came out about 2 seconds ahead of Lachlan. We saw Lachlan close in that gap though last pit cycle, so we'll see over the last 25 laps or so if he's able to close in this gap this time around, or has Brad learned his lesson, made some adjustments, made some changes to his driving style to where he's able to maintain that gap.
Race leader in.
Andy J making his final pit stop now. He's going to come out with the best tires amongst the top 5.
Yeah, I think that's, what, an extra 2 laps he stayed out?
2 laps more than everybody else in the top 5. A bunch more than Brad, but compared to Lachlan, that's going to be his unit right here of measurement. It's going to try to see how far away he comes out behind him.
And not that far. Oh, boy.
Oh, we're setting ourselves up for a hell of a finish here. These guys ain't going to let us down on that front.
Nope.
Andy J's going to come out and blend in about 2 seconds behind Lachlan, your old leader. And Lachlan has already closed in about 5/10 into Brad's lead, about a second and a half now. But don't imagine he's going to waste much time getting around Brad, but it's going to be interesting to see how much of a fight he puts up. We've seen these guys all take care of each other all race long, but with the win on the line, does Brad drive more aggressively? Does he defend? Does he block? These are all questions Lachlan's asking himself right now.
Oh, he's going to defend like his life depended on it. No more pit stops, coming to almost 20 to go. Yeah, there's not going to be many business decisions here in the closing laps.
Well, I imagine Lachlan's going to get him in about a lap or so. He was 6/10 quicker last time around. 8/10 quicker, sorry. That is a big chunk of change at this point in the race cycle. Especially with this big of a gap in front of him. He's going to be on his bumper probably next lap.
Yeah, and if you're Cuyo, you have to make this move ASAP. You know Barber's going to be coming on those fresher tires. You cannot afford to waste any time here.
The longer they race side by side, the more it will help Andy J. But I don't think it's going to be long as Lachlan makes the move to the inside of Brad Newman for the lead in turn 1. He's going to clear him quite easily. Newman's going to slide in behind, try to stick with him. He's praying for maybe another caution at this point.
Yeah, good move for the 42, and better still, Newman not able to launch a counterattack, which means now he's able to focus forward and try to see how much of that gap can he keep over the 5.
Well, we've seen that 42 have the best truck all night long. He has led 80%, 90% of this race. The only laps he hasn't led are the laps that Brad Newman got out front on the short pitting. They have been the only 2 leaders so far tonight, and he has not relinquished that track position, and it has worked out for him in the long run.
You see, battle for P4. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and take one last commercial break here.
That's it.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
You've got what it takes. Ladies and gentlemen,
This is some of the greatest stuff I've ever heard. Ooh.
These go to 11.
Welcome back,
And-
Pocono Raceway. Here as Lachlan Urquio and Andy Barber, Brad Newman, Ruben Phelps wrap out our top four. Got about 14 laps to go this time around. As these leaders are catching up to some lap traffic, that's going to play a factor in who's able to win this race, as Andy Barber has been slowly closing in on Lachlan out front.
Yeah, he's brought it down about half a second the last few laps.
Couple lap trucks in front of him, so that's going to give him an opportunity. Maybe Lachlan gets stuck behind one, maybe gets a little bit aero tight behind one of those guys and holds him up just a little bit, puts Andy in a position where he's able to get that draft and really close in. Right now they're so evenly matched. I don't think there's not much between them to where Andy can close in a big chunk at a time. It's a half a tenth here, a half a tenth there. But he is doing it. He has been a net gain over the last couple laps.
Yeah, it's one of those grinded out type deals for Andy. He's just got to keep pushing, keep plugging, and just hope and pray.
Brian Blundell's going to get out of the way for the leaders. Was able to give Lachlan the top side. That's going to actually help Andy here. He's going to give him a little bit of a draft down this long straightaway. It's going to be a big gain for Andy. He closed 2/10 just down that one straightaway. He's able to get to the inside of Brian himself and make quick work of him. As the leader, he's going to get underneath. Oh, sorry, they went around Mark Grocut. Now the leader just got around Brian Blundell. Sorry about that. Trucks look so similar.
Yeah.
And here comes
Not doing us
Andy
broadcasters
Barber.
any favors.
Now Andy's in that draft of Brian. He's going to try to do the same thing down the front stretch as he did last time around and gain some time using the draft of the truck in front of him, that lap truck.
Yeah, but this isn't helping him. He's right in the wake of the dirty air.
Oh, it's going to help him now, though. All the way down this straightaway, he's getting that big toe. Stopwatch last time around, he was a tenth quicker. Gained another tenth or two just down that one straightaway. That's what we were alluding to before when we say lap trucks can play a difference in this race. That was able to, help Andy close in 3 or 4 tenths both those laps just being down behind those lap trucks down that straightaway compared to when Lachlan was catching them.
Ooh, Lindell almost getting the wall there at exit the tunnel.
Andy did a great job of keeping up that momentum and not hitting the wall there. That was super close. Battle for fourth between Ruben Phelps and Ryan M. Barber. They are slowly closing in on Brad, but they are running out of laps with 10 laps to go. Last time around they were quite a bit quicker though. But it seems like time is working in their favor. Ryan Barber all over that rear bumper. Matthew Raymond not far back behind. These guys all pitted relatively at the same time, lap 60.
Yeah, this has been a battle that's been going on for a while.
Practically the whole race. On green the whole way, 75 laps, and here they are, nose to tail. And now they have those same lap trucks in front of them. Mark Grokite right here off of turn 3. Able to get out of the way at the perfect time. It's going to allow Ruben and Ryan to get around here on the top. They're going to drag Matthew along with them. They closed in another 4/10 there on Brad Newman. You can sense Ryan's just trying to work with Ruben here. Maybe give him a little bit of a push, catch Brad, make sure they both get by Brad, and then race it out amongst themselves at the very end. No sense in getting underneath him now, burning his stuff up now when there's another truck up there they can catch. They know they can catch him.
Yeah, having to deal with that pesky little patience word that we talked about earlier.
Andy closing in big time here. Got that lead down to under a second, 7/10 of a second now. He has visibly gained on them since the last time we saw them. Seems to just have a little bit better of a truck right now through the center of the corner. Able to get on the gas a little bit sooner than Lachlan is. That lead down to 6/10 of a second going into the tunnel turn. Gonna have 8 laps to go this time by. Big gain there through the center of the corner by Andy. Really able to get that truck turning down on the bottom nicely. His tires are working perfectly right now. That lead is again closing in down this long straightaway. He has the draft off of Lachlan's rear bumper. That's only helping him and giving him more of an advantage, as Lachlan almost has nobody in front of him at the moment.
Yeah, Andy's making up a lot of time in the entry of 1, but it looks like Lockie's able to get pretty good entry and kind of ekes it out a little bit. In fact, it's kind of grown from that corner, where it was about 6/10 for most of it. Now it got back up to 7s.
Well, Andy's been working pretty hard trying to close in on this gap. So maybe when he gets to that critical point where he starts getting aero tight, maybe his tires have it in him and maybe they don't. But he is making it interesting here as we come back around. 7 laps to go here from Pocono. Still a long way. It's still almost 18 miles of racing left. Lots of time to get this done, but if you're Andy J. Barber, lots of time to close in. He knows he's got to play somewhat patient here, not burn him up too quickly. He's going to get a little bit right here off turn 1. If he's able to keep it out of the wall and keep that momentum in it, he's going to be a net gain for Andy off of turn 1.
Yeah, he gained a lot of time. That was a perfect corner for Barber.
Andy with those elbows up through turn 2. Both those trucks yawed out just a tiny little bit. They got each other sweating. They got each other working.
While this is going on, And Phelps and Ryan Barber got by Newman for third and fourth. And here comes Matty Raymond trying to make it fifth.
Yeah, they're going to be side by side down that front stretch. That's going to hurt Matthew Raymond's chances of getting the two in front of him. But he should be able to clear Brad Newman here on those newer tires going down to turn one. Just like the first run of the race, that undercut is not working out for Brad Newman. But hey, he did try. He put himself up front in position to capitalize. Should have caution come out. As these guys are working around the lap truck of Brian Blundell. Going to make it a little bit interesting for them coming off of turn one.
Yeah, Ryan got a little close off exit of one.
Big gains being made by Andy J. Barber there on the entry of turn three. His truck is just turning that much better here at this point in the run. 5 laps to go as they come across the line. He is making it work.
Yeah, it looked like Urquijo just lost the bottom, just slid up the lane.
There's that entry speed that we've been talking about out of Andy. You can visibly see it as he goes down to turn one behind Lachlan. And here's that draft all the way down the straightaway. Closing. You can see it. The speed difference going down into the tunnel turn. Coming off of turn two, he's going to get another big wiggle. But he stays in the gas, maintains that momentum. By the end of this lap, he's going to be on his bumper, coming to 4 laps to go. These guys never fail green the whole way, and here we are with a big battle for the lead. Less than 5 laps to go now, coming to 4. Big run down the straightaway here.
A
little bit of a snake out of Ruben.
Although, can you really call it a snake if no one followed him? It was like the beginning. You can just call it like a snuh.
It's still a snake no matter how small it is.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Here comes that race for the lead. Andy J. Barber with the run off of turn two. Is he going to make the move now? Coming back around to 3 to go. He's going to make a peek. Dive it down to the inside. That's where his truck has been working the best. He's going to get that nose to the inside. They're going to be side by side down the straightaway. Is he able to maintain that run? There's not much of a draft help for Lachlan, but he doesn't do the side drafting. He's going to tuck in behind him. Still a long way to go. 3 laps to go. Just got to set him up. Lachlan just getting a little bit of tight. Had to wait that extra second to get back in the gas. You know he's looking in that mirror. He's got a mirror full of that 5 car. And he doesn't get a big run this time coming off of turn 2. Might be starting to get a little bit of that aero tight.
Yeah, it looked like Urquijo was able to pull him just that little bit.
Coming around 2 to go.
And he's so good through turn 3.
Yes, he's good through turn 3 every time. That's where he's making ground. But here he comes with that draft pull going down to turn 1. Is it enough for him to make a move? Doesn't appear so. Gotta try to set him up here back on the gas. Nose to tail following each other through the corner. You can see Andy get back in the gas soon, but he's going to walk up the racetrack, get a little bit of tight, almost hit the wall. But he stays out of it, stays in the gas. He's going to have another shot at him, but he's got to make the corner count now.
I wonder if Andy caught the apron a little bit. He got super close to the yellow line.
He's just pushing back on the gas. He gets on the apron.
Sideways. Oh, and he hit the wall too.
That might have been the last gasp out of Andy J. Barber, but he's got one more lap to try to get it done. Just a long way to do it. He's now 7/10 back, 6/10 back. Coming around for the white flag, Lachlan Urquio. He holds off the late race challenge from Andy J. Barber for the moment. He gets to the white flag. He's got one more circuit around to take home and win. Big dive into turn 1 here by Andy J. He's going to close in just a little bit, but not enough. They are side by side in the back. Tom Pritchard and Jason Tyerman for 8th place.
The never-ending battle.
The never-ending battle still going on the last lap as Lachlan's able to maintain that lead going down the tunnel turn for the final time. Andy J put up a big fight towards the end, made this race interesting, but just didn't have enough to make the move and ended up getting into the wall towards the end of this race. Put himself in a bind, and he's not going to have enough time to do it. Coming off of turn 3 for the final time, Lachlan Urquio is going to dominate and take home the win here at Pocono. Andy J. Barber comes home in second as Ruben Phelps holds off Matthew Raymond for third. Ryan Barber is going to pip him at the line, actually. Matthew Raymond side by side across the line. Ryan Barber is going to pip him for 4th place. And here's the race for 8th. Jason Tyerman and Tom Pritchard. Nose to tail. The never-ending battle is going to have to come to a close now forcibly. Jason Tyerman's going to come out up in front. We saw a big wiggle there out of Tom Pritchard, a last valiant effort.
Wiggle,
boy, these guys sure put on a show.
Ball.
Big win there by Lachlan Urquio. He's going to take home the win. 2nd place is Andy J. Barber. 3rd is going to be the 06er Ruben Phelps. 4th is going to be Ryan M. Barber. 5th, Matthew Raymond. 6th, Brad M. Newman. 7th, Shane Bowen. 8th, Jason Tyerman. 9th, Tom Pritchard. And rounding out your top 10 is going to be Brad Wright in the 19 car.
And bringing it home 11th is Brendan Henderson in the 81. Jake Saddington in the 15th, finishing 12th. Roy Mortensen in 13th. Ben Henniker in 14th. Colin Bennett 15th. Brian Lundell 16th. And Mark Crocott rounding out the field.
Big burnouts here from your winner tonight. Led most of this race, dominated from the pole. Lachlan Urquio with a big win in dominating fashion, making a statement here at Pocono.
Yeah, that was a great drive. You know, it's hard to, you know, keep yourself focused and, you know, be clutch when you got 2nd place just running you down. It's so easy to panic, make a mistake, start over driving it, but Lockie just kept it cool, calm, and withheld every punch that Andy Barber was throwing there at the end. And Andy was throwing some haymakers. That was a heck of a drive to get back to him and almost pip him for the win there. Hats off to Andy Barber in the 5 truck there.
He sure put up a fight. We're going to cut away for one more commercial here before our interviews. And we'll be back with interviews with our top 3 finishers here tonight from Pocono.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
You've got what it takes.
Ladies and gentlemen, ready for countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7,
This is some of the greatest stuff I've ever heard. Ooh.
These go to 11.
Welcome back to Pocono Raceway here. We are here with your top 3 finishers. Ruben Phelps coming home in 3rd spot in the 06 truck. Ruben, great run tonight. Came home in 3rd place. What was the defining factor between you potentially contending for that win or falling back to 3rd?
Oh, I mean, when you've got a teammate that gets first, I mean, it's pretty much a win for everybody. But, yeah, it was a little bit tighter than I had been sort of running over the week. So I wasn't sure if it was because the top line, it seemed like there's a lot of tyre rubber up there. So the natural line that I used may have not been effective. But still, I worked on the truck and had to try something a little bit different to sort of try and salvage or stay in the position I was sort of sitting throughout the race, and I guess it worked.
Yeah, working on the truck that wins is always a good feeling, especially when you have a teammate out in front. You had a slower pit stop there in that first cycle. Anything in particular happened there? We noticed your pit stop at the time was a little bit slower. Did you take 2 tires or something weird?
I think it was hold on for the fuel. I think it was sort of stuck there for about an extra second maybe after I'd done the tires, because I put a whole bunch in even though I was the last one to pit on the first cycle. But sort of once I got back out there, and obviously I made a couple of adjustments, obviously I had to catch up to them by myself, which everybody else had sort of somebody to have a draft off and pull away down the straights. But once I sort of got there, I sort of but thankfully I had about maybe 5 laps less on the tank. So when I did my next stop, that's how I ended up getting ahead of Barber there, because I took out like a couple of clicks out of the fuel to be able to get ahead.
Well, you were able to make your adjustments work and came home in 3rd place spot tonight. Anybody you want to shout out for your podium finish?
Of course, SRM Australia, of course, Matty Ray, and the whole team other than Bud wasn't here today, so pretty much the whole fleet. But of course, you guys are putting the broadcast on. Of course, TWRS, Team Watson Setup Shop. But of course, sorry, I said that, didn't I? Scotch's Race Fuel. Do it twice. Scotch's Race Fuel, Cut 6 Sticker Co., Moondog, and our 2 charities of TS Tourette's Australia and Australia Alopecia.
Congratulations, man. Have a great night. I'm going to send it over to James. He's going to be with our 2nd place finisher, Andy J. Barber.
Yes, sir. Andy Barber, James up in the booth. You got a copy?
How you doing?
Oh man, that was a heck of a run there at the end. You almost got him. First of all, take us through those closing laps as you see the time start to go down. Now, did you think, oh man, I might got him?
I'm not too sure. Yeah, I don't know. That last pit stop coming out, he had about 2 seconds on me, so I knew I had that gap to try and get over the long run. So I think we both kind of saved our tyre for the first 10 laps of that run, because our times were kind of static. We were sitting around that 2 second mark, and then about 10 laps into the stint, I thought, all right, let's see what we got and try and push. And luckily I got there, but by the time I got to the back of him with a few to go, I just spent everything that I had to just get there, I suppose. So I had to look up to the inside, and I didn't want to bump him wide or anything like that. So I got a little bit tight out of turn 2 in the dirty air, and tried to overdrive. Turn 1 I got very tight, and turn 2 I kind of tried to catch that gap and overdrove it a bit. But hats off to him. I tried everything to catch him, and we did at the end, but we just didn't have enough to get the last bit done.
So take us through the pit strategy. You pretty much nailed it pretty well. You were able to get that extra lap of an overcut, which actually helped you there pretty bit. Were you expecting to go with an overcut, or what was your whole thought process going into it?
Well, I saw Lockie pit, and then I thought, I've got a lap and a half fuel here, beauty. I could get a bonus point and lead a lap of the race, which was pretty cool. So I took that, and It wasn't too much of an overcut. It was just one lap, but I suppose with the mid to late run, it did make a slight difference because I was able to capitalize and get that gap and breach it. But just a little bit disappointed in myself that I kind of overdrove it that last lap, getting a bit excited. But yeah, we'll come back next week and we'll have another stab. But it was fast. The SRM guys were fast all night, and when I saw them qualify 1, 2, 3, I was like, can't have that, can we? So had to figure out a way to spoil the party.
Yeah, but you were doing pretty well there. You were able to get through 2 of them real quick in the opening stint. What was your thought process? Were you wanting to try to be real aggressive on the start, or were you trying to take it easy and was like, nope, gonna go ahead and go buy them now?
Well, you kind of have to be aggressive at the start. Obviously, the tyres are cold and they're fresh, but you've got to capitalise early because even though this track's very fast, it's quite difficult to pass cars, especially if you've got the same pace. So just early on in the run, I just wanted to capitalise that, and I benefited from that overcut just simply by sitting in behind Lockie for a few laps there and saving that little extra bit of fuel. So it was just interesting to see how that played out, and we saw that Brad pitted a little bit earlier, and then he was starting to come back to us throughout the runs as well. So we were just really, really happy. We got our pit stops nice tonight, and I finished with like 4 laps of fuel, so I was pretty stoked with that too.
All right, well, heck of a performance, Andy. Any sponsors, plugs, and shout-outs you'd like to give?
Just shout out to, firstly, the league, putting it on, the broadcast. We love it. We like to go back and watch the action. I'm sure there'll be plenty tonight. The Southern Stars team as well. Tom and Junior did pretty well tonight as well. Pretty proud. And just our sponsors, which is Mrs. Excel Garage, 7-Eleven, Slack Street Carbies, RBI Trading Cards, Sydney Pool Servicing as well. Hit them up. And excited to roll out the supercar on Sunday night.
Alrighty, Andy. Well, good run tonight, and hopefully we're talking to you again next week.
Thanks, boys. Enjoy your evening.
And I'll pass it over to Sean once again for our race winner.
Alrighty, Lachlan, man, heck of a drive tonight from the pole, dominating fashion, led from practically the start to the finish. How you feeling after that marathon of a race?
In one word, exhausted.
I believe that.
Andy at the end there gave me quite the fright. I genuinely thought he had me. Like, the speed that he caught me up in those last 20 laps, I thought I was done for. But it's just got. I played my cards well, but Andy, I think in the end, he drove flawless all night long. But it was that little mistake towards the end there that cost him. Like, I feel for him in a way because he didn't put a foot wrong all night, but. I'm so stoked to be back on top, guys. Like, I've been a while since I had a win, so it's really nice.
How did you feel about your pit strategy tonight too? I feel like you nailed it there and had the best tires when they mattered. Did you ever worry about Brad short pitting?
No. So the short pit I knew wouldn't work. We've been practicing throughout the week, doing runs and numbers and stuff, and in all the runs I'd done, I knew that the short pit wouldn't work because one lap advantage was enough to be able to pass someone. So when Brad went 4 or 5 laps early, I'm like, I reckon he might be in a bit of trouble here tonight. If we'd had a yellow, he would have been able to capitalize on the track position for sure, but I think going green all the way, he was in a bit of trouble for sure. But on my point of view, I actually completely cooked the strategy up entirely when I pitted a lap before Andy, because I had the fuel in the car, but I decided to pit because the lap car was coming up behind us, and I thought I'd be smart and pit early so I didn't get held up by Shane. But turns out that was not the right call, and I should have stayed out, but hung on to it in the end, so it's all's well that ends well.
Yeah, the cards all played right in your favor tonight, man. Leading from the pole, taking a win. Anybody you want to shout out tonight for your big win?
Oh, absolutely big shout out to Matty, Ray, Ruben, or whole SRM team. We put in a lot of work this week, and the TWRS guys have been massive help behind the scenes as well. Like, we've all of us as a group put in so much effort to get this thing right, and we got an absolute rocket ship this week. It's been so good, so fast, so hooked up all the way through the run. So massive congrats to the SRM and TWRS teams. They're so good.
Well, congrats
Obviously,
to you, man.
yeah, obviously the sponsors too. Cutsick Sickico, Scotcher Race Fuels looking after us this year. They've been awesome to us. Moondog, who's been with us for a while, and then obviously you guys as well for putting the league on broadcast. Can't wait to go back and watch it. I don't know if it'll be super entertaining, but I'll enjoy every lap of it for sure.
Oh, it was a lot of fun to watch from up here, man. Congratulations on your big win. We'll hope to catch you next time up here in the booth.
Absolutely, I look forward to seeing you boys next week.
Take it easy, man.
Catch it.
James, man, big race here tonight. How you feeling after that 85 laps of green flag racing? Had a big, close battle for the win there at the very end.
I'm exhausted. That was a unreal battle. Well, awesome driving from everyone. You know, when you have 85 laps of Pocono and you go caution-free, that is impressive and speaks volume about the talent we have in this series. And I'm just an absolutely incredible race, epic finish, and you know, that's pretty much all you can ask for on that.
These boys definitely showed out good tonight and made it a very entertaining race from start to finish, no matter the circumstances. Well, we want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. This is Inside Line Productions from Pocono Raceway. Thank you to all our sponsors. Check out the replays on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Anything else you want to add there, James?
Nope, just can't wait to see everyone back at Lime Rock. And we might have in-race reporter back for that one.
Oh, that'd be pretty interesting. Next week, we're going to be at Lime Rock Park. First time with the Truck Series. Have a great night, everybody.